Today we got a super special guest. He's a dear friend of mine, Darryl Boyer. We met a couple years ago, and we got a lot in common. So having you on my show is awesome. The First Forum podcast is we're going to talk about 4 things that mean a lot to the two of us: military, motivation, ministry, and mortgages. So awesome. I'll let Jason tell you a little bit about himself, and then you already know a lot about me, so I'm not going to go into detail, but we're going to put the spotlight on you and get to chat with you today.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Man, yeah, so my name's Jason Wagner, as I told you. I'm a realtor here in Flagler County. Just started a few months ago or whatnot. And I also own an Airbnb management company and started this podcast with this guy, and it's a pleasure having you on, man.
Nice to meet you. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, awesome.
18.
Wow. Doing more than I am. No.
There's a huge spread
awesome.
in our age gap here. You know, I'm going to be 36 soon. He's 18. I'm almost double the kid's age, but the motivation that I see behind this kid, like if I'm like, I got to scoop him under my wing. This dude's he's gonna be somebody. He's definitely gonna outgrow me for sure. And it's really cool to see that. You're really young too. How old are you?
25.
25 years
just had a
old.
birthday.
Just had a birthday. Just hit a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Darryl.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us a little bit about you. I see you got a huge name tag. You want to tell us about that?
So born and raised here, Darryl Boyer, in Flagler County. Were you born here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. So I feel like the younger people are, starting to get, born and raised in Palm Coast. When I was in kindergarten, it's like unheard of. So it's kind of cool.
Right.
But, grew up here, went through foster care here in Flagler County, 22 different homes before I turned 3. Was abused in each of those homes. And so I went through K through 12. Then I went off to UNF and got my bachelor's in political science and marketing. Then I went to FSU and got my master's in political science, worked in Tallahassee in the state legislature. And there's where I really found my purpose. I never in a million years would have ever thought I would ever run for office, but I saw a responsibility to give back to our foster children. And so some of my biggest platforms are enriching our children with the tools necessary so they could be successful. I believe every child deserves the opportunity to be successful no matter what environment they were born into. It's us as a community that can come together to make sure our next generation is set up for success. Then lowering homeowners and auto insurance and property tax, because right now it's a crisis throughout the state of Florida. I can't afford my first home right now because it's just almost impossible. I know you guys would tell me otherwise.
I was about to say,
right?
you're probably dealing with the wrong mortgage guy.
Yeah,
I think we could take care of you.
Yeah, that's true. I need to talk to you. And then, protecting our state against illegal immigration, because it's a crisis not only throughout the rest of the nation, but also here in Florida. And then lastly, bringing back more of our state dollars that we pay into to enrich our infrastructure. So our roads, our swells, our flooding, and our overall maintenance. Yes, and our seawalls, our beaches. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love chatting with you every time we talk. We could even debate on some of the topics back and forth. You and I don't always agree 100%, and that's okay.
Right.
But having that, we have some good, bipartisan conversations. And it's weird because you would think, we're both Republicans, right? We're both registered Republicans, but we don't always carry the same exact views. But we can sit there and have an intelligent conversation and break down some of the barriers where some ideas just may be different. And, the seawalls were one of them. For so long, people were like, we don't need a seawall, and I'm like, dude, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I get it. We want to save the sea turtles. I do. I love the sea turtles, man. I'm a beach junkie. You guys see me at the beach every weekend. We're either surfing or fishing. My kids love it. I have 4 beautiful boys. Yeah. Of course, I want to, keep that forever for their kids to see. However, that road's pretty important too. And so is human life. And I think sometimes we conceptually think that other things are more important than human life, and it's not. How do you feel about that?
Human life?
Yeah.
So far as...
versus saving turtles.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that one.
No. Yeah, no, both of them. But, it is crazy because there are some people that actually believe that we shouldn't be renourishing the beach. Because they're like, oh, God will just fix the beach himself. And I'm like... Okay, well, what happened in the last 2 hurricanes?
Exactly.
We have to step up and make sure that our beach renourishment, is properly improved, and we have to make sure our beaches, because beaches are way more than just us enjoying them on the weekends. I mean, that's tourism. Look how many people come here to visit our beaches. It's our local economy. Look at all the local shops here and restaurants. They rely on our beautiful beaches. So we have to make sure that our beaches are nourished and they're strong and they can withstand hurricanes, to come in the future as well.
When you put it like that, it's so much easier to understand for people. So I'm glad you're able to break it down Barney style for some people. It's awesome. So, now you talked about your backstory a little bit. Now I know a little more deeper about it. I don't know how deep you want to get on the podcast, but I know about some of the abuse and, I know about the fire that you guys survived too. Do you want to talk about that and how that's impacted you mentally throughout your life here?
Yeah, I'll say going through foster care and, being abused in each of those homes, it's just taught me to treat everybody with respect. And no matter where you go in life, like, I don't care if you're going to be the next president or if you're going to be a bus driver or whatever. My dad always told me just be the best at whatever it is, but also uplift others as you're climbing up the ladder, because you never know what anybody's gone through. I mean, when people first look at me, they probably never would have thought that I ever went through any of that in my life. But that's why you just never judge anybody. Never judge a book by its cover. I know that sounds so corny, but it's true. But my grandfather, who did 2 tours in Vietnam, he always told me, no deposit, no return. It's you that only gets out of life what you put into it. No deposit, no return. And so I've also lived by those same, morals throughout my life. If I want to be someone or if I want to see change, it starts with the man. I'm just looking at the man in the mirror, is what Michael Jackson used to say.
Right. So basically, in a nutshell, you're talking about motivation and your motivation to change and grow. And that's one of the things that we talk about is, it's you versus you every single day, and if you don't wake up and make that change, I mean, Gandhi said it best, dude, be the change you want to see in this world. And you're taking a huge step to it. And I like that because you have a continued motivation. I asked you to come on this podcast last night and you're like, hey man, I'd love to. However, I'm knocking on doors until the sun goes down.
Right.
And, you were not pushing off of that. You're like, I committed to this. I'm going to do it. And I think that that's beautiful. I think that your willingness to want to go out and meet new people every single day is resilient. Even though you're homegrown here, a lot of people already know you. I respect that in you. I respect that you're still out there. Like, even though I'm homegrown and, my roots are firmly planted here, I still want to make sure they know my name.
Right. And not only just know my name, but I think so many people that get elected, they really lose sight of who got them where they are.
Right.
And I never want to lose that. I always want to be held accountable. I give everybody my cell number and I say, call, text me anytime, even once I'm elected, please. Like, if you're like, what the heck bill is this? My family and I need help, call me. That's my job. That's why you elected me, to get to that position.
Right.
And so, I just hope to also, always remain accessible no matter where I go in the political realm. Because I think that's what the people deserve.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to, chat about opponents or anything, but I do want to talk a little bit about, how you got where you're at. I know before you were an aide for somebody very important in Florida, which, and I like the guy. But I want you to tell us a little bit about, your relationship with Mr. Renner, Mr. DeSantis, how you favor for those guys and, how you met them and then how they may or may not be helping you today.
Yeah. So I guess, God, what was my first job in politics? I started off as an intern in the clerk's office because when I went to FSU, I was like, you know what, I might as well get a job working in the Capitol. Like, I'm here. I've actually never been to the Capitol. So I was like, I might as well take advantage of this now. So I went and I applied for like every single position. I started off working in the clerk's office. And it was like a part-time job because Florida's a part-time legislature. So my last day of work was the last day of session. And I remember bawling my eyes out. And I went to my boss and I was like, I will do anything. Like, I'll sweep, I'll mop. I just want to be in this building. And he's like, well, I think we can find something better than that for you. So I was like, okay, well, what is it? And he's like, well, who's your representative? And I told him, Paul Renner. And he's like, well, why don't you go back home and listen to him give a legislative update? Because a lot of the members do that. And I drove 3.5 hours back home. I was like, hey, Mom, can I have $20 for gas to go back home? Just drove all the way home, listened to him give a legislative update at Tiger Bay. And during Q&A, I stood up and asked if he had any job openings. And he said, as a matter of fact, I do. And that next day, I started working as a travel aide. And that job entailed picking him up in the morning, dropping him off at night, going everywhere, with him, making sure he was on time, not late to anything, and also keeping in contact with our constituents. So that was a lot of fun. And then I went and worked on a campaign in Tallahassee with a state senator. And we flipped Tallahassee from Democrat to Republican the first time in over 100 years. So that was kind of fun. And then I went back with Speaker Renner for a little while. And then I started off as a legislative aide working in the state house and fell in love with every single one of those jobs. And that's where I knew this is what I need to be doing, and filed my paperwork to run.
Now, when you filed your paperwork to run, a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually going to run for that spot. And, I'd met with a few people, and including Renner, and I thought for sure, I was like, man, I'm going to go for this. The only other person going was, at the moment, I think Mayor Alphen, and then O'Brien was running for that. And I'm like, dude, I'm a Navy veteran, young, intelligent, entrepreneur, successful, extremely vibrant. There's no way that I'm going to let those two beat me. And then a few weeks later, as soon as the word got dropped that I was going to be in this race, a word got dropped that you were going to be in the race. And I remember calling you and saying, hey, let's go out, let's go talk. And the reason I wanted to have that conversation with you is because honestly, I'm a busy guy and I love to help people. And I feel like people need that help at a higher level.
Right.
But you and I have a lot of the same views and values. And I trust you. I trust you so much that I was like, yeah, I'm not running against this dude. Also, I was scared, dude. He goes, we were at breakfast and he said, yeah, man, I think it's going to be a good race. And I was like, nah. Yeah. That sounds like somebody that's about to stone cold stunner me through the whole race.
That is fun. No, that's good though that you guys weren't like competition and stuff like that as well. You guys are still able to have that connection. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. I mean, no offense. He doesn't have kids yet, right? I have kids, and I really need to focus on making my kids better. So there's a young man right here, and he's willing to go out and fight for the things that me and my family believe in and the values that we believe in. And I can stay home with my kids because I have a young man out there that I trust that's going to do what I have in mind for me and my family. That's what I want.
Right. I mean, also, he's got the time, too. You're 25, dude. You're ambitious. Like, you want to go knock on doors till sundown. Like, dude, you got the drive to do it. Like, you're going to be able to do it.
Okay, I know.
All the effort.
No more razzles.
Outwork. You gotta outwork your competition, and then you'll get there, dude.
Yes. Just because I like you, though, doesn't mean I'm not going to ask you the tough questions.
Yeah.
And I do have a tough one for you.
All right, let's hear it.
So you know me, I'm completely against lifetime politics. But you went to school for political science, and here you are at a very young age running into politics. Now, I know your heart, and I know how you are, but I want you to explain to everyone else how you're going to transition yourself throughout your life, because personally in my own heart, I hate's a strong word. I extremely dislike lifetime politicians. I mean, we have one in office now, right? This guy's been there for, 40, 50 years even, and hasn't done a lot of great things.
Right.
I mean, he helped keep us afloat in some things, but there's a lot, I can think of more negative things than positive things with this person, because I feel like he lost sight. What's going to keep you from losing sight? Because I know your goals are to be a career politician, but at what point are you done and do you step out?
Right.
And then.
So I actually have no higher aspirations. I have no goals of being in Congress, no goals of being president of the United States or even governor. I actually never even thought I was ever going to be a state representative. I just, and I know every person that runs for office says this, but it's true. God, if you even look at the pattern throughout my, career of, working in the state house, crying because you want to stay there to work and everybody else is crying because they're happy to leave. Like, those are not signs to just dismiss. Those are signs of God calling you to complete an assignment. And I believe no matter what you do in your life, whether you're a bus driver, whether you want to be a teacher or a doctor, always answer God's calls to complete his assignment. And so wherever he may take you, just put your trust into him and he will guide you. So I've done that throughout my life, and he's called me to do this, and I'll complete this assignment and can't wait to serve as our next state representative. But to answer the question of, when do I step away? And how do I keep in touch, with people so I don't lose sight of what's important? And that is we the people. Those three words are so important. And it's doing what I've continued to exemplify, and that's give everybody my cell phone number, knock on over 7,000 doors, answer questions, answer phone calls and text messages. I am one of the people, so I'll just be accessible. And I think, finally, like, when I start getting my first gray hair, that's probably when I'll say, all right, time to do something else.
Don't get that too soon, man, because you have a really good heart. And I mean, you know me, I'm really well known in our community. I'm a pretty tough entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I'm at almost every public event that's around our community, but so are you. Mm-hmm. And we bump into each other, rub shoulders a lot. Right. Now, I know that District 19 is more than just our community. It's more than just, Flagler Beach. It's more than, Palm Coast, Bunnell, Beverly Beach, Marineland. Mm-hmm. It stretches up to St. John's and St. Augustine and the beach side there. So how are you making an impact there? And do they know your name like we know your name here?
Yeah. Knocking on doors, meeting a lot of people. I've been fortunate to have, some good relationships in St. Johns County. So I've been doing pretty well there as well, but it's a lot, going to 2 counties, even though they're right next to each other. It's a lot of land to cover, a lot of people to meet, a lot of events, a lot of back and forth.
Right.
When I bought a car, probably May of last year, I think, or June of last year, and I bought the car with 45,000 miles on it. My car now has over 100,000 miles.
Wow.
And that's in less than a year. I'm like, what the heck? This,
yeah. And
it's a lot of driving.
You have to understand that Florida's a lot of straight roads too.
Oh,
yeah. So that's a
my car
lot
too.
to drive.
Dude, I swear.
That's a lot of driving.
It's a lot of miles.
65,000 miles on it at the beginning of this year. Now it's got like 87. Dude.
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
Yeah.
So you've touched, our podcast, 4M podcast, First Form. You've touched on a lot of our topics. You've put God in everything, and that's what we're about, man. We love ministry. We loved motivation. We've talked about your motivation, your ability to tell yourself it's time to go, and then your want to keep moving forward. We talked about we talked about mortgages a little bit and how you're not ready for it, but we'll jump into some of that because I do have some questions about future politics and stuff that may touch onto that. But the one thing I do want to hit on, I'm a veteran and I love helping veterans. I have that nonprofit Operation 22 where we help veterans with mental health. Now, I'm always going to advocate for a veteran, always. How do you feel about veterans?
It's in my family. My grandfather, it's funny. I'm a Navy family, so.
Go Navy.
Go Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy. I have a brother-in-law that was in the Navy. And one thing that I am very disappointed about in our nation with our veterans, something more recent, but I feel like the lack of respect, the lack of acknowledgement for our men and women has almost become abysmal. And I feel like we've become the laughingstock of the world because we're pushing things like DEI, we want more women, we want more black people and this and that. I'm like, when we go to my grandfather used to tell me this, he said, when you go to other countries and you're about to shoot someone, they don't say, oh, are you LGBTQ? Oh, are you black? Okay, I won't shoot you, let me shoot. No, they don't care. You're an American. They don't care about anything else. You have that mask on and you're covered. They don't see any of that. They just know you're an American and they're going to kill you. And so I think we need to start igniting that American pride again once in our nation. And another thing that I say, I don't care what color you are or what community you live in or come from. We are one nation under God, indivisible. We overlook that word a lot, and we need to start coming together as one nation under God, come together as a community and really start advocating for the American dream and ignite that American dream once again.
I've heard that saying before, and justice for all.
Yeah.
So don't forget that because that's important too. I think that there should be justice for every single person. But, I believe everyone is created equal, but due to your actions, your ability to be equal later on is completely diverted and taken away. I'm not going to dive too much into that because then we'll get people fired up that we don't need to get fired up. But
let's fire them up.
Let's fire them up. Well, he's got the gas. I got the match. Let's do it, guys. So, I think that, that goes in to be with part of motivation since you want to jump into that topic. I'm going to bring up DEI first. One of the things that you talked about is, being inclusive, having DEI. Our president of the United States, I don't care what side you're on, you should never wish death upon anybody. And all this stuff online is pissing me off. All this stuff about people saying, I want him dead. I have never wished death on Joe Biden. I have never. Did I laugh when he fell off the bike?
Yes.
Yes. Did I laugh when he tripped up the stairs? Yes. Do I laugh every time he fumbles his words? Yes. Did I laugh when Trump fell? Yes. Do I laugh at all the stupid stuff Trump does? Yeah. There is comedic relief in what is going on in this world. It is, and it's comedic because some of it is just stupid and disgusting.
Right.
However, I had never took the negative of somebody's potential death and then turned it on.
Right.
But here we have some DEI exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
We have Secret Service that are women.
Right.
And here's how I want people to portray this. So I go to Afghanistan, right? We're just going to paint this picture. I go to Afghanistan and there's a war going on. If there is a woman there and there is a man there and they are both soldiers, right? My brain should tell me, hey, if we want to win, I need to help the dude that's going to be stronger and help me. But I can't because I'm a man.
Right.
And I have emotions and I can't watch this woman die.
Mm-hmm.
So then this guy may get hurt. This woman, I save her life. That's great. I saved a life. But now we're both going to die, including the guy who was fighting over here, because I'm with somebody who's less capable of doing something.
Right.
And I don't say this to say that women can never be equal. But what I can say is there's never been a woman to pass BUDS. Basic Underwater Demolition School for SEALs. There has never been a woman to do it. Even if you took the training and put it to the side and allowed them to do it, they couldn't.
Well, that's how God made us all.
Right.
I mean, women do things that men can't, and
Right.
men do things that women can't.
Yeah.
Women can give birth, dude. Men can't do that.
And that's an
Everybody's listening,
amazing
but-
feat that they can do.
Yeah.
And I've seen my wife to go just like ballistic when something happens to our kid and like gain an immense amount of strength to be mother bear.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife will tell you if we go to the gym and try and lift up the same weight, she's not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
My wife will tell you if we lay down with a rifle, and I've got to sit there for these snipers, these sniper teams, these scout sniper teams will lay there on the ground in their own piss and own shit for 72 hours, crawling inch by inch for the perfect shot on one target.
Oh my God.
Women aren't going to do that. And I'm not saying that they can't, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't be put in a position like that. Women should be held to a standard of something that we look up to for motherhood, nourishment, things like that. I love my wife. My wife has been a better mom to me than my mom has been to me. I love my wife, and I'm going to do anything in this world to protect that woman. And I will not let anybody talk negatively about that woman. I don't hit my kids at all. They don't get spankings. I make them do like military style workouts when they get in trouble, unless you do two things. You lie to me, or you disrespect your mom in any way, form, fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Any way, form, or fashion. Do not disrespect your mom. And I'm going to raise my boys to be men at a very early age. And when I do, my kids are going to be way above 90% of the other people's kids in our generation being raised right now.
Right.
So
unfortunately,
inclusiveness, cool. We could all be equal. If you want to be gay, be gay. I don't think a lot of people care about it, but don't shove that stuff down my kid's throat. Don't do that, please.
100%.
Don't tell me that I have to agree with what you do because you don't agree with what I agree with. And you in like this rhetoric that every single person that is a white male is hateful is not true.
Right.
Darryl, you've known me for probably 4 years now. I've done nothing but love people, man. Right. There's some people out there that don't like me, and that's okay. I've never wished negative on them. So why are these people online wishing death upon a man who's trying to bring unity? And you don't see the unity just because there's so much hate. This dude wants to get rid of like income tax completely.
Well, I mean, I think a majority of them are brainwashed, dude. Like, look at everyone nowadays. They're starting to agree with the transgender stuff, and they're starting to do it at a very, very young age. Yeah. Like, people are making decisions for them. Schools nowadays are practically raising your kids. Like, parents don't even have control over their kids anymore.
Which is sad.
Like, think about it. Your kids go to school for 8 hours of the day, 5 days of the week, and you get your kids for 2 days on the weekend. And, I mean, most of the time, these kids are spending time with their friends as well, and they're getting raised at the schools as well. So having those schools having control over those kids is having a huge impact on them, whether the parents think so or whether the kids think so or not.
That is true.
49% of children out there have fatherless homes.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That we need our men to step up. I'll agree there. 78% of teachers are female.
Mm.
That means that 70% of our boys are being raised by women. If you take those two together, 70% of our boys are being raised by women. Toxic masculinity is not an issue.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not a problem. You know, it should be being toxic. Obviously, that's a trait nobody wants. But being masculine, don't ever try and take that from anybody, man.
Right. Well, that's what they're doing. They don't want men to be masculine.
No, they don't want power in the world anymore. They want everyone to be soft. That's how the whole West is. You know what I mean? I mean, think about back in the olden days and stuff. The men used to go out and hunt, fight. They do all the building and stuff as well. The women, they'd sit home, they'd take care of the men, they'd cook, clean, or whatnot, and they'd make sure the men are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nowadays, that whole dynamic is all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Now the women they try and do the hunting, they try and do all the building, they try to go to war and stuff like that just to prove a point. But then they don't realize, like, back then, that's not how things work. It was way different then. And things worked a lot better then as well. Like, dude, they got a lot done. But now everyone wants, like, most of these men, they want to take that away from them, and they want to turn them into soft females. Like, they want to just turn them into soft men so that way they don't have the power anymore.
Right.
And then our president gets shot.
Right.
And then we have the DI in place. And we have this woman that is sitting behind a group burying her head away from everybody else. Right? And then as she's walking back, she's under so much duress, she can't even holster her gun.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, that roof should have been covered by a counter sniper.
Mm-hmm.
In any angle at all, there should have been a counter sniper on the roof where the shooter was.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on everything we talk about?
So I've been around, obviously, the governor, the president, and they know days before everybody that lives in, you know, a certain radius of whatever facility that they're going to be at. They go out and they scope. They look at every single angle of, you know, how somebody could possibly, you know, harm the president. You're telling me that guy had a sniper killed, or, you know, try to attempt to kill the president, and Secret Service didn't know about it beforehand?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a little suspicious. I don't believe it. And if that is the case, if they really didn't know that guy was there, our Secret Service is incompetent, and the head of Secret Service needs to resign. I know that she said a few days ago.
Which is what?
A female, which is fine, but I don't care about, you know, if you're black, white, a female, Asian. I don't care what you are. Yeah. I want you to be competent and do the job the best you can, and there should be no room for mistakes. Because if someone can kill the president, we could be murdered at any time as well. And I think it's very scary for, like, a local candidate, even though I'm only running for, like, state house. And even some of our elected officials here, I think that puts a scare tactic throughout the nation as well. Because if our president can have an attempt assassination, what does that look like for the rest of the nation and the rest of the people willing to step up to the plate? It's scary.
If we talked about the most hated people in the world right now, right, I would put Donald Trump and Joe Biden on the same pedestal. It's like 50-50 people just hate those men, right? And then right underneath that, I'd probably put Ron DeSantis. As much as we love him here in Florida, everyone else hates
him in the nation, yeah.
So even at a state level, I think you should be scared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what happens when you get to that spot where you're having the discussion, and then there's somebody who doesn't agree with you being a black Republican, or somebody who doesn't agree with, what's the word they would... So I'm sure you get called Uncle Tom.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah. And
a house Negro, an Uncle Tom, all that. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And that's what's sad, is that the people on the left, because I am black, I have to be a Democrat. I have to be a liberal. There's no room to be a Republican. But when you look at conservative values, most of the people in the black communities align with conservatism. I mean, when you look at what it is to be a conservative, I mean, and you look at what it is to be a Democrat nowadays, I mean, they do not align, especially when you're looking at some of our minority communities. So it is sad, and that's racist, you know, when people say, like, you know, you have to be a Democrat because you're black. I mean, you know, what the heck?
Yeah. So back to the whole Trump shooting thing. So there's a lot of theories with that. Like, you can go on TikTok and Instagram, and you'll see these, like, little shorts of people actually, like, seeing the shooter on the roof and taking videos, and they're screaming out, "There's a guy right here. There's a guy right here." Now, that roof is perfectly positioned. Now, I think all of us know that there is a higher power. There is people that actually control the world that actually are trying to transform it. There's people that are trying to keep Joe in office because they're trying to keep men weak. You know what I mean? Because they're scared and they're seeing that people are starting to overpower and they're starting to rise up and realize what the heck is really going on. They're starting to bring those people out of the shadows. Now, those theories are really, really interesting because if they take Trump out, you know what I mean? They take Trump out, there's not going to be anybody that actually doesn't follow the dynamic. Trump doesn't care. If Susan comes in his ear or whatnot, they're like, hey, you have to do this, this, and this. You have to tell the people this, this, and that, and gives them flashcards to read off of. And he says, nah, screw that. I'm not doing that. No. He has his own mind. He's competent enough. He's strong enough to think his own thoughts, and he knows what's right. He knows what the people need. So I think a lot of people are getting fooled by that as well.
That's my favorite thing about him.
Yeah.
Is that
I could care less about the controversy. I don't care what you're doing. You know, I say this with as much taste as I can. I don't care what you do in your personal life, for the most part. America's a business now. It should be ran like one. And why not the guy who's been broke several times and been able to bring himself back up to the B word?
The businessman. Right? Let's let the businessman run the country. You know what I mean?
And he's backed by the richest person in the world. Elon Musk just said, "Hey, what's up, man? I'm gonna give you $45 million every month into your campaign." Are you kidding me?
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll see it, but I don't think I'll see it anytime soon. I mean, one of the greatest podcasters ever, Jake Paul, he's seen $45 million for the first time in a year. And that guy, he did it in a year. Trump's going to get that campaign for for a month.
I know. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wish I could see 100,000 of that for my campaigin.
Yeah, Trump, give my man $100,000.
Yes.
He's running for
Elon,
state.
give my man $45 million.
Yeah. That's just one time. I mean, I think it's safe to say that we all love Elon here. He's a great dude and he's impactful and he has forward-thinking progress. And I think that that's one of the things that people, are scared of. Everybody wants forward-thinking progress, but everyone wants different forward-thinking progress. You tell me how socialistic views can help me become a better person and help me become more successful financially or at home or anything like that. You tell me how that works. I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll do it. But until you can sit down, and I will have the most intelligent conversation with you that we can have. I mean, in fact, I forgot this lady's name, but when I was at UWM, they're one of the world's largest lenders. We were in a class about a month ago. I sat in the back row, and this lady right next to me, she was from California.
Oh God!
So I just leaned over to her and I said, "You a Democrat?" And she goes, "Are you a Republican?" And I said, "I'm an American." And I was like, I don't let the names hold me down. My values are really Republican, if that's what you would say. But the reason I say I'm American and why I feel like I have to say American is because if you tell somebody you're a Republican, it's immediately, oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist white. The best part about this is people don't know I'm half Hispanic, half white. So so when people are like, and then there's some Indian thrown in there too, we just found out that there's some Shawnee and Cherokee, and it's not even super deep in the roots. It's just a few generations back. So, I'm not trying to be that guy to be like, oh, I'm not white. Yeah, I'm white, but I'm also Hispanic. And I promise you, I still think that there's a problem with the borders. When you're letting in the people that we're letting in.
Right.
Do I think other people need help? Yes. Just do it the right way. I want you to come to America and I want you to live in the land of the free. Right. There is no other country you can go to and be that country. Right. I can't go to France and be a Frenchman. I can't go to Mexico and be a Mexican. I can't go to Canada and be a Canadian. But damn it, you can come to America and be an American.
That is true. Yeah.
It's that easy. And if you're gonna be here, respect our culture. Our culture doesn't need to change for everybody else who's coming. That shit pisses me off. This is my home. Right? This is my plate. I'm gonna fill my plate first. Right? At the barbecue, got a barbecue this weekend. I'm gonna fill my plate. I'm gonna fill my wife and kids' plate. And then everyone else is gonna get fed. Yeah. I take care of mine first. And that's how our country should be. I want every person that comes into our country to care about my culture the way that I care when I go to Mexico and I care about the way they live. When I go to Canada and I ask about their culture and the way they live. When I go to Honduras every year for a mission trip and I care about the way they live. I'm going to Africa, right, next summer. I'm gonna get into their culture and dig deep into that. Afghanistan, go there, learn their culture, man. Nepal, go there. I want to learn their culture. Philippines, I love the Philippines. I love their culture. These third world countries, they have great cultures. You go there, you respect their culture. They don't have a problem with Americans.
Right.
What they have a problem with is when Americans go over there and try and America up the Philippines.
Yep.
So why is it bad that when the Philippines come here, we get mad for the Philippine trying to Philippine our American?
That's true.
This is our country, our home. You have to stand up for it. You have to have masculinity, whether it's toxic or not, and you have to respect it. I'm going to raise my kids here. You're going to raise your kids here. One day when you grow up, you'll have kids too, and you'll raise those here. But I want to make sure that my kids are safe and that they're being led by people like Darryl Boyer. And so you 100% have my support.
Oh, thank you.
100%. Like, I've had countless conversations with you, and I'll continue to have conversations with you. Because even though we can disagree, we can always find a common ground.
Right.
And I love that about you. I love the fact that you're not afraid to have that hard conversation. So if there's anything you want to chat about, we only got a few minutes. I want you to go ahead and spit out anything you got to say so that we can spend our time helping you, pushing you. I'll help you knock doors for the rest of your time. Obviously, we got to schedule it right because I'm busy, you're busy. I'll even make him get his Air Forces dirty. Make him get out there and
I'm just talking in my Air Force one.
Yeah, man.
The coquinas, right? Is that what they call them?
The coquinas.
Is that what we called them? I can't remember. No, I just want to give some advice for the young people, especially you. I think the biggest mistakes that I've made in my life is not doing what I felt in my soul I needed to be doing. So, like when I first announced, and I don't know if I shared this with you, like when I first announced my candidacy, I mean, all the people that support me now were not supporters early on. They were like, you're too young. You don't need to be running. Like, what are you doing? You have no experience. A 25-year-old shouldn't be in the state house. You need to run for city council or county commission. And what I would tell you is that if I listened to them, I would not be able to live with myself, because then I would be able to be dictated by what other people want me to be doing and not doing what God wants me to be doing. And also, back to the career politician thing, if I was a career politician or wanted to be a career politician, I would have listened to them and said, okay, I'll step back, run for city council, then run for county commission, then run for state house, then run for... But that's not, what I envision for myself or what God has planned for me. What I need to be doing is what I need to be doing at that given time, and that is running for state house. And so my advice for you and, any other young person or anybody in life is just do, what God's calling you to be doing, and just do the best that you can possibly do, regardless of what other people are saying about you. Because there's going to be haters no matter where you go in life. You could be running for state house. You could be wanting to go to school to be a doctor, or even, you're a realtor now. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of people that told you, why are you doing that? You should be going to school to be a doctor or this and that. And look, you're doing amazing. So that'd be my advice for young people. And then no matter where you go in life, as you climb up the ladder, just bring as many people as possible up along the way. And that's what I try to do. People I went to high school with, pull them all. If they're like, oh, well, I want to do marketing. Okay, you're going to do some social media posts or something. Try to bring as many people as possible.
Yeah, so there's a saying out there that says, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right.
Amen.
So that's 100% true.
The only caveat I got to that is that you've got to surpass somebody to turn around and give them your hand.
Right.
And that's going to make some people mad. But as long as you're always being humble and you're always throwing that hand out, man, you're doing the right thing. So you can't let that hater hold you back, man. Right. So, I mean, again, you're amazing, dude. Always got my vote. I mean, here having a conversation.
You got mine
with
too, man.
Having a conversation with you was like, I was like, all right, I'm done.
All right.
I'm not even gonna do it. Like, anytime there's somebody who's willing to do what you're doing and go fight for my boys, the way that I'm gonna fight for my boys, I got it.
Right.
You're there, man.
And it's a win-win.
Yeah.
There's no losing. And whenever you are set to do, God's assignment, it's a win-win.
How do you feel about August coming up?
Oh, we'll do great. Like I said, it's a win-win. There's no losing. I'm either the next state representative or, like, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I know we only have a few more minutes, but
no, take your time, man.
Whenever
we can stretch it.
Whenever you've done something in life because you were like, I'm going to be a bus driver or something.
Right.
And you take all the courses, you go, and then you fail, and then you're like, oh, dang it. And then you end up becoming the VP of the, bus facility or something. So it was like a hidden blessing that you didn't see at that time, but God showed you it in the future. Mm-hmm. So no matter what you do, just do what God wants you to do, what he has planned for you, and it's always a win-win. So, if I'm not the next state representative, there's a hidden blessing in this. And I wholeheartedly believe it. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But diamonds are made with pressure.
They are. So. They are. I mean, even before this podcast started, I walked outside. I walked across the street to the beach. You walked out to your car. I walked over there. And I was like, God, just, make sure that we're saying the right things, that we can honor your name while we're in there. But also let us be able to speak freely, and talk about some of the pressuring issues that we have in our community and in our state. Let's talk about some of those and get them off of our chest, because some people aren't going to have the hard question, man. When you're talking about inflation, I think it's selfish that if you think that your sexuality is more important, your personal sexuality is more important than everyone's monetary inflation issue. Mm-hmm. That's selfish, dude. That's selfish. And I'm going to tell you, like, you're worried about your sexuality. You need to be the only person concerned about your sexuality. If that is where you want to be in your life, and that's, you want to be transgender, you want to be a part of the LGBTQ, you want to be heterosexual white male, you want to identify as an Apache helicopter, that's your business. That's your business. If you think that I give a shit about it, you're wrong. Yeah. What I do care about is making sure that you can monetarily take care of yourself and that you can live a long, prosperous life.
Mm-hmm. So I believe that God has a plan for like everybody. I feel like everyone's born with a vision, some sort of image of what they want their life to look like and what God wants their life to look like and what they need to be in order to, of course, honor God's request. You know what I mean? So I think especially with you running for state representative, that's like a big thing that God planned for you to do. And you don't know what he could plan for you in the future. Like, dude, you could be running for president like 10 years from now. You never actually know. Like, you can meet somebody and then someone's like, oh, you should do this. And then you realize that you have a whole bunch of supporters and you think that you can actually like do it. You know what I mean? That's a big thing with a lot of people. Like I could be in a whole different situation here in like a year or two, or even like in a week or so. Like something could happen to where I'm like, okay, I don't want to do real estate anymore. I'm like, dude, this is amazing over here. I like this a lot better. Which of course, I mean, I don't think so, but you never actually know what's going to happen. Just that's like you said, I don't know if I'm going to run for president. I don't think I am. You know what I mean? But you don't know what's going to happen here in 10 years. You could be the next or you could be president here in like 12 years. You know what I mean? So you never really know.
I won't forget you if I do. No.
Yeah. Fine. Yes. I want to visit the White House. Yes. So we'll do a podcast in there.
Hey, I promise you want me on your Secret Service team.
Yes.
Like, I love God, but I really love guns.
Yes.
And that protective mindset is just something that I think isn't always instilled into a father. It's a little different than the protection you get from a mother, and I think that, our president being put in that situation, I don't know, it's cancerous, dude. You can't, if you have a presidential detail, you should be able to pick who's on it.
Yeah.
It should be people that you trust, because if it was people that he trusted and people that he cared about,
that would have never happened.
That would have never happened. And, I appreciate,
are there female Secret Service people? Because I swear, I didn't even know, like growing up, I thought it was just all men. Like, I mean,
is that normal? Growing up a long time ago, before this whole dynamic changed to where women can just do whatever now, yes.
Okay, because that's the first time I ever saw female Secret Services was when I saw them
moving around.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
I had never seen it.
Yeah. Well, now we have like feminists and stuff like that too. So not that women aren't capable of it, but like there's
there's got to be a training. And here's the thing. If there is going to be a training for those people, it should be the same training all the way across the board, and you should not lower the men's standards to raise the women's standards.
Right.
So when I was going through search and rescue school in the Navy, our standards are high for physicality for everyone. There's no man and woman. You're running that mile and a half, or you're running that 2 miles in 12 minutes or less, right? You're swimming that, mile bay swim. You're swimming that in less than 30 minutes. Like, you're not getting different times than anybody else. You're still doing 72 push-ups in 2 minutes or less. You still have that same physicality test, PT test that everyone else has, regardless of your gender. Unless it's changed. A lot has changed since 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. A lot's changed. So I could be wrong. But when I was in, it was all the same. In SEER school, Search, Evade, Revive, and Escape, like that school. There was a couple women in that school, and it's very tough, man. You go through a rigorous training. You go through some training where you're trying to survive for a week, and then you can get captured. If you don't get captured, you end up going to like a POW camp. You get slapped around. You get stuck in a box. You get tortured. There's some women that make it through that. So to say,
there are. There definitely are. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say there's no like women that aren't capable of it. Dude, I've seen some strong ass females before, dude. Like, some of them impress me. I'm like, wow, you can do that. Most men can't even do that. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some that just like try a little too hard to accomplish what a man can accomplish, and they don't end up doing as good of a job as a man can.
So, is there anything specific you want to talk about on your campaign trail that we could push out? Maybe make a short on, anything we could do for you today to help you grow your business? Since you're in the business of taking care of us.
Yeah. Donating, getting as many people as possible to donate. I know knocking doors, it's so hot for people.
Where can they donate at?
DarrylBoyer.com. So DARRYL.
We can put that link in the description.
Yeah, okay, awesome. And then they can also mail a check, whatever. I can pick up a check. I like picking up because then I can talk to the people, but whatever. They could donate online. Also sharing stuff on social media just helps gets my name out there in different audiences that people may have on their social media platform. And then just getting the word out to as many people. And register to vote by the 22nd, Republican. So you can vote in the primaries.
Yep. So we were supposed to go to your dinner, but we missed it because we had some family in town, and
no worries.
We couldn't get anybody to watch the kids. But I do want to help you out. I do want to donate to your campaign. But my donation, like I want you to know that like it comes from my children and not from me, because you're not going to do anything to make life better for me. I love my life. I have this motivational attitude every single day. I know that you're working on our future, and that's what's important about you. That's what I like about you. I mean, if you can make some changes across the board right now, like, supporting Trump for getting rid of income tax and lowering the property taxes and stuff like that, that's definitely going to help me. But it's the future that needs to be changed for our people. Obviously, we have to have forward-thinking progress, but, forward-thinking doesn't always mean that you have to be delusional and, just add everybody into it. Not everybody likes boxing. Right. Don't step in the boxing ring if you don't like boxing.
Right.
It's the world is like TV. If you don't like watching Shark Week, turn the fucking channel. Right? Why argue about why other people like Shark Week, or why waste your time on anybody else?
That's true.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm doing a podcast, and there may be people out there that say, hey, I like that guy, I love his opinion. There might be people out there to say, hey, I hate that guy, I don't like his opinion. And I think if everyone just reached out, got to know somebody, they would understand that love is love for us. And that's it. I love every person. I love seeing people be successful. Like you said, I don't care what color you are. I don't care where you stand on the political line. I don't care about, I'm not going to misjudge you because you have a different belief. Mine is, for Jesus Christ, He's the Almighty for me, and in my family, it's Jesus first, others second, yourself last. That's just how we do things at our house, and that's joy, Joy. And that's what He brings our life, and I like to keep that going every single day. I'm not going to judge somebody else for loving anybody else. Am I going to try and educate you on what I believe in? Certainly. I think that's what God put us out here, be fishermen of men. Am I going to live out this character of a good, loving Christian, so that you're like, man, what is that guy doing? So you could be like that guy? Certainly. I want to leave a footprint, but that's what I want you to do for our future. And that's why I'm voting for you, because I know that you're going to leave more than just a footprint.
Oh, thank you.
So I appreciate you coming on, dude. Love you, dude.
Love you too. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure meeting you, man.
Yes.
And I appreciate you taking your time to have a good conversation with us.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Invite me back.
Oh, we'll do for sure. It'll be after you win.
Awesome.
Yeah, it will.
So real quick before we hop off, in August is primaries.
Yep. Primary.
So it'll
win
be
the primary. Then I go to November, and we'll win in November.
So in November, you'll be the only Republican.
Yep.
So
me versus the Democrat.
Okay.
Yep.
And I don't know any of the Democrats right now.
That's good. Yeah.
I know I know two of the Republicans. One of them I don't really know that much. The other one I got mail from the other day. And then I've had like 97 conversations with Darryl Boyer in the past couple months. So, yeah. I mean, we spit your name out all the time. I try and tell everybody like why they should. You know, I've heard your opponent's name once or twice, and I'm like, yeah, well, why do you like him? Well, I got his mail the other day, and I'm like,
oh, I know.
I'm like, oh, you got his mail? Cool. How does that change your life? Did you talk to him? Did you have a conversation with him? Do you know him at all? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about him? Right. Well, I know he was in the Navy. Sweet, I was in the Navy too. I don't mean I like him.
Well, isn't that very sad that people vote like that? Like, oh, he was in the Navy. Yeah.
Maybe I should just pay for some mail flyers for you, man. Yeah, you know, so can you get them out before,
vote by mail? Yeah.
Primary, and just say, hey, last chance to get the man. Here's my phone number. Put your phone number on it.
On the mailer.
Call me. Call Darryl Boyer. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's chat.
Let's chat.
That actually is going to be my next mail. Okay, I like that.
Let's chat, dude.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah, I'll throw in on that.
I'll put my personal cell on there. Yeah.
Yep. Don't put mine on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get a lot of calls. But yeah, I like that. That's smart. I'll do that.
Cool. So I know I said we're going to end, but I want to get like where you stand on two things. The future of Ron DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
What's he doing? Where's he going to be? What do you want from him? And then I want to hear about the future of Donald Trump, his new presidential pick, and what you want from him in his future.
Okay. So Ron DeSantis, I think that he has a bright future. He's young, so I think that
also Navy.
Yeah, exactly. So he has a lot of potential to, serve as our next president of the United States, maybe even our state senator. I could also see him in like Trump's cabinet doing something. I think that'd be a great leap for him as well.
Yeah.
And then for Trump, he's going to do an amazing job as our next president, obviously. But I'm so excited about his vice presidential pick. He's Catholic. He's young. He's 39 years old. And I think that's also very telling that, young Americans are we founded this nation. So when you look at our founding fathers, I mean, James Madison was 25. I think one of them
25.
I think one of them were 22.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're all young,
Yeah.
Young Americans founded this nation, and young Americans will save this nation.
I think people, don't understand that because they wore the white wigs back in the day, not understanding the Whig Party and how, and what it meant, the significance behind that. And I think the Whigs later left because it was really a British thing at that point, and then we were trying to stand aside from them. But that Whig generation, we think that George Washington was 100 years old.
Yeah,
he wasn't, and neither was anybody. And Thomas Jefferson was older, but the people following were not, man. And it's just benign. It blows my mind that how young people were back then. It's it reminds me of like Jesus and his 12 disciples, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks that these guys were grown men walking around and they're teenagers, right?
Right.
Jesus is like bringing up these teenagers and taking them across the world, and they're young men who are growing, and all these things that you read as a Christian and you're believing in it. Those people you look up to, the stories from Paul. Paul was younger than Darryl Boyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people forget that. It's crazy. And JD, he also, I don't know if you know his personal story, upbringings. It reminded me a lot of my childhood, even though, I was very blessed to be adopted at 3, but he had obstacles and he overcame, and now he's the next vice president of the United States. So that also shows the American dream, that you can have obstacles, but you too can overcome, but only in America. And so I think that's really exciting that, Trump picked him as his next VP, and it's 2 different generations coming together to save America.
Yeah. there's a weird controversy about Vance being picked, and
he used to not like Trump, and
how he used to not like Trump, and I think people don't understand that it's not that he doesn't like him, but even in our own party, even in the Republican Party, I like to call it the American Party. Even in the American Party, you have some people that disagree with each other, so they're having to debate. They're having to get on CNN, NBC, and all these Fox News channels to have these debates where they go back and forth and go against each other. Even though most of their stuff actually aligns, like I was thinking, man, dude, how crazy would it be if he picked Ramaswamy, dude?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how crazy.
Tim Scott,
how crazy would it have been if it would have been DeSantis, and DeSantis would have had 4 years in the cabinet and then follow up 8 years. I would love 12 years of DeSantis. I would hate to lose DeSantis here.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't know what would happen. What's going to happen in Florida when DeSantis leaves?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be interesting. We have a lot of people that could run for governor. So we'll see what happens.
I know you have no aspiration, but maybe Darryl Boyer.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Like I said, you never know.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
If it's God's will.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So,
yep.
All right, we'll bounce out. And,
awesome. Well, thank you.
No, thank you for coming on. And
yeah, man, we really appreciate it.
If there's anything we can do to help, we'd love to. Guys, check out the 4M podcast. If you love motivation, if you love military, if you love ministry, and if you love mortgages, just subscribe, click the links below, and we'll get you in touch with Jason or myself. I'd love to have you guys come on our podcast if you want to talk about those 4 things. We hope you had a good time chatting with us, man.
I did. Thank you.
Thank you.